All right. Solve this equation algebraically and confirm graphically. Basically, they want to know, how would we solve this? Well, good old-fashioned like terms. Okay? We have v squareds that are like terms and constants that are like terms. So where are you going to move what? What do you think you're going to move first, John?
Probably the negative 5v2.
Squared. We're going to add 5e squared to both sides. So we get 6v squared minus 5 equals 8. Then what do we do? What would you do next, Grady? Okay, we'll add 5 to both sides. Now what? Well, we can keep going on that same path. So EV, divide by 6. So v squared equals 13/6. Now, it says type an exact answer using radicals. So if it's v squared, we want to get it down to v. To get v squared down to v, Kendra, you would do what to both sides? Take the square root. All right. So v equals, can't leave a fraction inside a square root. So we'll have to multiply the top and bottom by something to get rid of that radical on the bottom. Because it's really like a radical over a radical. So what are we going to multiply the denominator by to get rid of that radical? What do you think, Cole? 6, exactly. So if we multiply the denominator by 6, we've got to multiply the numerator by 6 because we have to multiply by 1. The same on the top and the bottom. So 13 times 6, I think, is 78. So we get the square root of 78 over the square root of 36. Well, I know the square root of 36 is 6. Square root of 78, does that reduce? Is there any perfect squares that go into 78? Does 4? Nope. Does 9? Nope. Does 16? Nope. 25? Nope. 36? Nope. So there are no perfect squares that go into that, right? Okay. We have one mistake that I made. How many answers should I have? 2. When you take the square root of an equation, you need a positive or negative. So your answers are negative square root of 78 over 6 and positive square root of 78 over 6. Okay, we solved that equation. Now it says, confirm graphically. How do we confirm it graphically? Well, we got these things called graphing calculators. Okay. So if I go y equals, got a couple different ways I can do this. Okay. I could say y equals this equation, y equals this equation, and figure out where they intersect. So y equals, and I could go x squared minus 5 on y1. y2 could be 8 minus 5x squared. And then I could graph it. And I should see a parabola and a parabola. Where they intersect should be where the solutions of the equations are at. How do we find an intersection on a graphing calculator? How do we find where these two graphs intersect? because the graphing calculator will help us find that. The intersection point is second trace. If you can remember from last year from Wheels' class. Okay, second trace. And I want to find where they intersect, number 5. So if I go back and I go really close to where they intersect, I push enter, enter, enter. That'll give me the intersection point. Now, it doesn't tell me the square root of 78 over 6. It tells me negative 1.47. Well, on our calculator, get out of the graphing mode and take the second square root, the square root of 78. And then on mine, I have to go over 6 like that. On yours, most of yours will do the fraction bar on yours. You can make a fraction out of it by hitting something, something, something. I don't know what you hit. But mine, I have to go like that. Hey, look at 1.47, 1.47. Okay. Where do they intersect? Well, if you go second trace, 5. And if I go to the other side, whoops. Whoa, stop, stop, stop. It's stuck. Look at that. It's stuck. My red is stuck, and I cannot turn it off. Oh, okay. Goodbye. Start over again. Okay, it stopped. Let's just go enter, enter, enter. Yeah, okay. Let's try that again. Second, trace, 5. Zoom, 6. Second, trace, 5. If I go to the right, go enter, 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 I get 1.47. Okay? So we confirmed it graphically. The graphing calculators can help us figure stuff out or check our answers. Okay? Number 2, it says, solve the equation algebraically and confirm graphically. Ooh, how do we solve this one? Now, I can't just say x equals 21 and 2x minus 11 equals 21. That would be too easy. Sorry, it doesn't work. Math doesn't work like that. What we have to do is, let me go back here. We have to distribute. To get 2x squared minus 11x equals 21. Subtract 21 from each side. So 2x squared minus 11x minus 21 equals 0. Now, we could factor. We could complete the square. Or we could do the quadratic formula. Completing the square would be difficult on this one. Completing the square is easy if you don't have a first term coefficient. But if you have a first term coefficient and these are odd numbers, yeah, that's a pain in the butt. Factoring, you might be able to factor that by doing Wheels' method of going the AC method, 2 times negative 21, 42, and find the factors. Or we could do the quadratic formula, which is what I want to do right now. What's a quadratic formula? We sang it the other day. Negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So it's 11, because negative 11, the negative of negative 11 is 11, plus or minus the square root of b squared, 121, minus 4 times 2 times negative 21, all over 2 times 2. So it's 11 plus or minus the square root of. Okay, 4 times 21 is 84. 84 times 2 is 168. Plus 121 is 269 over 4. The square root of 269, I think, is 13. No, that 169 is 13. Did I do that right? I think I did it right. Might have to grab my calculator again. So, to what? 289. That might sound a little bit. Yeah, because it's, yeah, 289. And 289 has a perfect square, right? Is it 17? What's 17 times 17? 289. So it's 11 plus or minus 17 over 4. 11 plus 17 is 28 over 4. 11 minus 17 is negative 6 over 4. So it would be, undo. So then it would be 7 and negative 3 halves. Now, how do we check our answer graphically? You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do this. I'm going to go like this. I'm going to move this like this. And then go full screen on it so I don't have to keep going up and down. All right. So for y equals, I'm going to clear what I have in there. And I want these two, I'm going to set this equal to y equal and this equal to y equal and set them equal to each other. Okay. So, or nah, let's do it this way. I'm just going to type in this equation to my graphing calculator. So I'm going to go 2x squared minus 11x minus 21. I'm going to graph that. Makes a parabola. And where it's equal to 0, where the zeros of the function are, should be where it's at. So if we go second trace, finding the zeros, number 2. To find that 0, I go to the left of where that intersects the line, press enter. Go to the right of where it intersects that line, press enter, and press enter again. I get negative 1.5, which is negative 3 halves. If I want to find the other 0, it's second trace 0. I go to the left of where it crosses the line, and I get pretty close to it. So I go to the left, hit enter, go to the right, hit enter again. I get 7. My other answer, confirmed with the graphing calculator. Okay, the next one, quadratic formula, we just did it, so I'm going to skip over that. The next one says solve this equation algebraically. Oh no, we have a square root in it. How do I do that if it has a square root? Well, you get the square root alone on one side. So I'll leave it as x plus 4 minus 3, or equals 3 square root of x plus 14. Okay? So I got these numbers away from these numbers. The 3 can stay in front of the square root x plus 4 square root of 14. Then to get rid of your square root, you have to square both sides. So if you square x plus 4, it's like taking x plus 4 times x plus 4, which is x squared plus 8x plus 16. On the other side, 3 squared is 9 times x plus 14, or 9x plus 9 times 14 is 126, I think. And now I got to solve it. Well, I'm going to subtract 9x and subtract 126 from each side. So I'll get x squared minus x minus 110 equals 0. I'm going to factor it. How do we split up x squared? X and x. The factors of 110 are 1 and 110, 2 and 55, 5 and 22, 10 and 11. So it must be plus 10 minus 11. So x plus 10 equals 0. So x equals negative 10. And x minus 11 equals 0. So x equals 11. So it's 10 and 11. Now, you got to be careful here. When you square both sides, you run the possibility of having extraneous roots. What are extraneous roots? What's the base word of extraneous? Extra. You might have extra roots, ones that don't make sense. So if you put in a 10 here, it's a negative 10, sorry. If you put in a negative 10 here, negative 10 plus 14 is 4. Square root of 4 is 2. 3 times 2 is 6. So negative 10 plus 4 is negative 6. Minus 6 is like a negative 12. Does negative 10 work? No, it's an extraneous root. It does not work. Let's try 11. 11 minus 4 is 7. 11 plus 14 is 25. Square root of 25 is 5. 3 times 5 is 15. 3 times 5 is 15. 11 plus 5 is 15. 15 minus 15 is 0. 11 works. Okay? So, when you square both sides, you might have an extraneous root. For this one, it says solve the equation graphically by converting the equivalent equation with 0 on the right side and finding that. So, we're going to go y equals, clear, and we're going to go 5x minus 2 minus the square root of x plus 2. I'm going to graph it. And we're going to match the graph. Well, obviously it looks like the graph B, right? So, where's the x-intercept? What's the word for x-intercept when I go second trace? What's the word for the x-intercept? 0. 0. I want to find the 0 of the function. So I go to the left of it, hit enter. Go to the right of the x-intercept, hit enter, and hit enter again. And it's about 0.730. Okay. All right. So there's 6 questions for you to do. It is out there. We will hit the next section after lunch, but these 6 questions will take you probably almost all the way up till lunch to work on. So get to work, please.